Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we were on the third mantra of Kaivalya Upanishad. The disciple Ashvalayana Rishi went to Bhagavan Brahmaji and asked for the supreme knowledge of Brahman. And Brahmaji said, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. Know this through Shraddha Bhakti and Dhyana Yoga. And having said that, in the next mantra, the third one, is where he says, Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, neither by work, nor by progeny, nor by wealth, amritatva manashuhu, can one attain this supreme state of immortality. Then how will one attain? Tyage naike, only through tyaga. Amritatva manashuhu. Parena nakam, it is beyond the heaven, in your own heart, nihitam guhayam, vibhrajate, it shines. Yatayo vishanti, and these great seekers, they enter into that state. How? That comes in the next mantra. So here we had seen three aspects, na karmana, na prajaya and dhanena. So these three aspects are generally what we strive for in the world. We want happiness, we want success. It is through these three aspects, that through praja, through dhana, through progeny, through work, we want to attain success, fame, happiness, everything. That is actually the path of acquiring, what we call as pravritti marg. And so here it says that this pravritti marg will not work. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. Why? Because we saw in detail, so I'm not going into those details now. Work will produce limited results, and anything that is limited will not give us infinite happiness, the goal that we seek. Praja is everything on whom one depends, everything which depends on oneself. And dhana is everything on which one depends. So praja and dhana, again, progeny required for a certain continuation of the lineage, etc., but cannot give happiness in terms of the eternal happiness. And even dhana, wealth, can give some functional convenience in the world, but immortality one cannot attain through that. And so, how will one attain? Tyage naike, only through tyaga. So, tyage naike expression has two meanings. Tyaga, through tyaga, some rare individual attains because not everybody is ready to do tyaga. To let go is most difficult. Actually, it is very easy. To hold this continuously takes a lot of effort, but to put it down, easy. Example has a limitation because when here it will pain when we hold on, and so we immediately easily put it down. But mentally, what we are clinging on to, even though sometimes it is painful, attachments bring sorrow, but our identity comes from that, from our attachment to the body, mind, intellect, or to the people we love, or to the things that we have. And we are deriving our sense of self-worth, identity, all from that. And so to drop that, even the pleasures that we get is from all those attachments. And so to drop that appears very difficult. And so he says here, tyage naike. Some rare individual who is ready to do this tyaga, that individual attains amritatvam. Second meaning is only through tyaga this can be attained, not through anything else. That's the main meaning actually, because it is in this context, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. By these three one will not attain. These three actually also indicate the three eshanas, or three main forms of desires that one has. So Vitta Eshana is through Dhana, Putra Eshana is through Praja, and this Loka Eshana is through Karma. And so we find here that neither through either of these one will not attain, then only through Tyaga one will attain. So Tyagena Ike, that's the only means, Eka. And we saw that Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, what was said earlier, also ultimately lead to Tyaga, dropping of false identification. So Tyaga of what has to be done? Ultimately, Tyaga of Ahankar, Tyaga of Jiva Bhav, Tyaga of Dehatma Bhav, that has to be done. But before we do that Tyaga, we have to be ready to do simpler forms of Tyaga. So the Tyaga of laziness, lethargy, procrastination, tamoguna, Tyaga of selfishness, Tyaga of prohibited actions, whatever is not conducive for my spiritual growth, I have to do Tyaga of that. So if those Tyagas I have not done, then the ultimate Tyaga, which is the Dehatma Bhav, that will not go. Why? Because these others, they feed this. Laziness, lethargy, selfishness, doing things which are prohibited, they strengthen the ego. And unless that ego has become completely thin, one can't surrender it. And so all those other forms of Tyaga are implied, because that disciple who has come is a highly qualified person that we already saw. Athashvalayano Bhagavantam Parameshnam Upasametya Uvacha. That time we saw his background. So he has done all that. And then he has come to the teacher, and so the teacher tells him, Tyage naike, only through dropping of this false identification, one will come to know the truth. So Tyage naike amritatvam anashuhu. Amritatvam, na mritatvam vidyate. where there is no mortality. So where there is no disease, there is no fear, there is no death, there is no old age. Those are the things that one associates with. So change, mortality, where the none of these exists. So amritatva manashuhu. See, actually here it means that state of self only, amritatvam. But some people also connect it to the state of heaven, because in heaven it is supposed to be no disease, no old age, no death. One is always young, always enjoying, there is no sorrow. So the next line says, Parena nakam, it is not heaven. Na akam, kam means happiness, sukham. Akam means sorrow, where there is no happiness. Na akam means where there is no sorrow, meaning happiness. So nakam, nakam does not mean nose. Here parena nakam means beyond heaven. So one meaning is that this is because even heavenly pleasures, what one attains, finally they are subtler than human realm, more enjoyable, more long lasting also. But ultimately they are limited and they are going to end. Whatever ends is not what the seeker is seeking. The seeker is seeking what is unending, what is infinite. And so parena nakam. So through karma, one can attain heaven also, but not immortality. Punya is done, one goes to heaven after the body is dropped. Progeny is, if they do the Shraddha karma, etc., then one will get that Sadgati. If one has done charity, etc., with the wealth, then attains Punya, goes to heaven. So, karma, dhana, praja, they can help to go to heaven. But that immortality as the self cannot be attained because it's already attained. It is our true nature. And that's why it says Nihitam Guhayam. So Parenanakam, heaven cannot be attained. Immortality cannot be attained. One can attain heaven through these three: karma, praja, and dhana. But this state is beyond heaven. Because this state, even in heaven, you will see so many stories which come. They are devatas who are there. They are no doubt more powerful. They have done more punya, so they are there. And they are also taking care of certain phenomenal forces in the universe. So Varun Devata, Vayu Devata, Indra Devata, Agni Devata, so all responsible for the different aspects of creation. But even there you see in the stories, they have their insecurities. The most famous one is where Indra, he becomes insecure when any rishi is doing tapasya and puts obstacles on the path of the rishi who is doing meditation, etc. Deva Sura Sangram goes on. So they are ultimately jivas, more powerful, more capable, but finally it is limited. And so this state is beyond that, Parenanakam. Through Brahma Vidya, one is not expecting heaven. Through certain other rituals and dan, punya, ishta, purta, one does, then one will attain. But through this, one is not attaining, one is not expecting to go to heaven. Now, Gurudev in his commentary has given another beautiful meaning, Parena Nakam. So, the state of no sorrow in our human experiences. In the daytime, also, we can have happiness and, waking state we can experience. But it is mixed, there is all kinds of emotions that come and go. But surely in the deep sleep, there is the state of no sorrow. Dream also, sometimes we get some terrible dreams and then one wakes up with a, you know, shock, etc. But deep sleep, so Gurudev says that is a state of deep sleep. No sorrow there at all. So in his commentary, if you see, that's what he says. He is given both meanings, heaven also. Then he says that this type of a negative condition is experienced by us in our deep sleep condition. Negative meaning where there is no sorrow, that state. So this type of a negative condition is experienced by us in our deep sleep condition when we in our causal body, when we are in our causal body and we have therein the state of no pain. So the causal body of everybody is deep sleep of everybody is the same, where one experiences no pain. He says, Parena Nakam. It is beyond that state, meaning it is not a state of dullness, because in deep sleep there is ignorance. Many people think thoughtlessness is the ultimate goal to be achieved. That every night we attain in deep sleep state, but that is not the goal to be achieved. The goal is to drop the false identification and awaken to that true state of ours, which is Sachidananda. So the ultimate realization is not a absence, it is not a shunya, it is not a blank, it is not thoughtlessness. It is the state of illumination. So Sachidananda, that is our nature and that is Amritatvam. And so Parena Nakam means that beyond heaven, see Nachiketa, he refused all the pleasures of heaven and earth both in a not even blinking an eye. Yamraj gave him all that. He said, you live as long as you like, you live in a young way, healthy way, have children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, enjoy the pleasures of this earth and drinks and dance and music and all kinds of achievement, name, fame, glory, everything. Then he thought that maybe he is not interested because the offer is very less. So he increased the stakes. He says, heavenly enjoyments I will give you, apsaras and chariots and enjoyments and all that, music and many things. But don't ask me for Brahma Vidya. Nachiketa did not blink an eye and he said, Tavaiva Vaha Tava Nitya Gite. You keep your dance and music with you. You give me what I have asked for, and that is Brahma Vidya. And don't give me theories. Tell me what you experience. Yat tat pashyasi tadvada. What you experience. He has that daring and guts to tell Yamraj that don't tell me Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat, kritat kritat, anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha, yat tat pashyasi tadvada. Beyond dharma and adharma, beyond past and future, and uh, beyond cause and effect. Meaning, don't give any of the logics and theories. I want to know what you experience, that truth, that Atma I want to know. So that is a kind of a seeker. That Upanishad's Uttam Adhikari is like that. And so one doesn't seek. In fact, he got that in the second boon itself. Not for himself, but for Praja. He came to learn the Agni Vidya, doing which one attains certain merits, by which one can go to heaven. And that he will go and tell the people. But he himself is not interested in that. So in the third boon, he asks for Brahma Vidya. Now, the point here is that level of vairagya it is. This mantra is to indicate that na karma, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena indicates that much vairagya that there is no craving for any of these. One may do karma, one may have some wealth, one may even have progeny. By itself, none of these have any problem. But we identify with these for our self worth. We identify with these and We think that we are the limited jivas and we need these for happiness. That false notion has to go. And that is the tyaga one has to do. And so, if one has any attachment to any of these three or all of these three, then one will want temporary pleasure here and hereafter also. Vairagya is here and hereafter, there is no craving for temporary pleasure. Iha amutra phala bhoga viragaha. In Tattva Bodh it said Ichha Rahityam. There is no craving, there is no desire for any of these sense pleasures here and hereafter. And so, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena indicates all pleasures, temporary pleasures here. Parinanakam indicates hereafter. No craving for pleasure. That is a big step in evolution. If it comes, one enjoys, but one is not hankering after it, one is not planning for it, because ultimately everything, if you see, revolves around that enjoyment only. So, each aspect, if you see, we have converted so many things into enjoyment, which are basic necessities, which are just to maintain the body. See, now I'm talking from a seeker standpoint only. People in the world, one may do anything as per their desire. There's by itself nothing wrong. Each one is in a level of evolution, but everything one has converted into a source of bhoga. Taking bath is required for what? Is basic cleanliness of the body, remove the dirt, keep the body clean, infections are not there, one is able to function properly. Now, how much pleasure has got introduced into that? All types of whatever, showers and jacuzzi and shower gel and this and that and 20 types of lotions and harming the body with chemicals. That the one doesn't realize only. But made it into a sensory experience. Same way with food, same way with clothes, with the place where one is staying, the bed, the sleep, everything. So if we see from a seeker standpoint, bhoga vritti is that which makes us extrovert. And again, I'm saying at one level of evolution, someone may have to go through all this because then one gets the clarity that, okay, in spite of all this, I'm still not able to experience supreme happiness. So there is all whatever stress, tension, anxieties, worries, all that connected with it. So then only one turns within. So at some level, it is a necessity one goes through all these. But for a seeker, not required. That's what one has done tyaga. One will let leave. Not necessary at all. And so, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, and parena nakam together indicate that state of great vairagya that the student has, because only then the mind will turn within and steadily contemplate on the self, because it's not interested in the world outside. One may use any of these depending on the role that one is playing. Like Gurudev, he was having this organization, and so there is work also to serve the people, reach the masses, all kinds of uh, activity. 20 hours a day he was engaged in, right from writing letters to talking, conducting meetings, and giving instructions and going on construction sites, and so many things he used to do, but no craving inside for any form of um, recognition from it, deriving pleasure out of it. One is full from within and one is serving out of happiness, not for happiness. As a seeker, one is serving to please the Lord. One sees Bhagwan in the world and one serves. One sees that Bhagwan has put me in this role, I am doing my best as my seva to the Lord. may the society benefit, may the future generations benefit. So with that attitude one serves. So karma one can do, dhana one may have. Suvarna Tulabharam was done and Gurudev took those gold coins, prasad mein he gave through to people in the hall who were sitting there. And at the end of it, he said, money comes, money goes, I have nothing to do with it. Difference for the organization. Na karmana, na prajaya. Praja is children. So children need not be only in terms of the physical children. Children is in terms of even what we say the Jnana Parampara. So many disciples, so many sevak, sevikas, Balvihar children, Chinmay Yoga members, all of them means a family, huge family. No attachment to anyone. But everybody will still feel very loved that Gurudev loves us a lot. Why? Because no attachment inside. So, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena is not a dull, pessimistic state. It is an intelligent state of using all these without any craving inside. And when required, one drops also all these. It is not that one is, in the name of service, actually one is attached and so one is not able to sit quietly and so one is doing this. To purify the mind, yes, one will do karma yoga. But when one drops, one is able to sit quietly, it does not bother the mind because the whole seva was done with the attitude of no craving for oneself, no self-importance. If one is in a particular role, a position, one may need to follow some protocol, some hierarchy, the organization, etc. But otherwise, nothing. How does it matter? So when one is sitting quietly, contemplating steadily, the thoughts of the world don't bother. That is the state here. So na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. So no craving for pleasure in this world, no craving for pleasures of the higher world. See, this world pleasures, only subtler pleasures when the mind goes on craving for. Higher world pleasures, in today's age, not many even learn about the Vedas, the Puranas, and understand that and seek those pleasures of the heaven. Maybe some rare few people may be doing that, but most of us, we seek only here in this world subtler and subtler pleasures. Or the state of dumbness, numbness, or thoughtlessness beyond all these. So, parena nakam, nihitam guhayam. In and where is this nihita? Dha means to place. Hitam, nihitam, placed very well. The self is placed in one's own heart as though. Now, placed is a figurative expression here, but it means that it is vibhrajate nihitam guhayam. It shines in one's own heart as aham, aham, aham. So it is not something that one is seeking out there. It is not something which is abstract. It is not some unknown entity. Long back when I was not very clear about the study of Vedanta, I had read one book of J. Krishnamurti. I was on the path, decided to, walk this path, study, pursue the path of Vedanta and know the truth, etc. And then I read one book called On God. The first chapter in that, if you read, it is very confusing. Because suddenly one will feel that, am I seeking something that is unknown? How can I seek what is unknown? Very confused one I got. Then when I came to understand Vedanta more properly, I said, we are not seeking what is unknown. That whole premise is wrong because there one feels that God is some unknown entity and then and somebody has imagined about God and created all kinds of you know, definitions of God and forms of God, and then one is trying to seek that. And how can you seek what is unknown? All the one logic was given for it. And then if you go through that, one feels, yeah, what am I seeking then? What is the use of religion? What is the use of renunciation? Why should one follow any spiritual practice? Because anyway, it is all unknown. So one logic is given according to that. One gets confused. We are not seeking what is unknown. We are seeking what is our true self. Just that we have forgotten that. And it is every moment there. It is not something abstract. Aham is in every experience. Right now it is there. Without that, this experience only will not happen. That is the core. Nihitam guhayam means that that is the core. Without that, with aham vritti is not there. If aham is not there, real I is not there, this anubhav of the world also will not happen. The waking, dream, deep sleep, none of that will happen. We can't experience any of that without the presence of that infinite consciousness. So it is here and now. Nihitam guhayam vibhrajate. It is shining. Aham, aham, aham. That is the, I mean, that is again language expression, aham, 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 and we indicate all that. But it is a continuous presence. It is not something zero. It is not something which is out there. It is not something to be attained. It is here and now. Every single moment, one can just anchor in that and know that I am that. Nihitam guhayam vibhrajate. So why it is a guha only? Even Ramana Maharshi said, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Ahamaham iti Sakshad Atma Rupena Bhati. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, in the cave of the heart, in the middle of that. Upanishads also explain, give that same analogy. Cave, Buddhi Guha, the cave of the intellect. So Gurudev says cave of the heart here when he says Nihitam Guhayam. So one meaning is the heart is the core of our personality. And so when the heart of a seeker is filled with humane qualities, with love, with compassion, with purity, etc., which is given by the word uh, Nitam Guhayam, next line, next shloka it comes, Shuddha Sattvaha. So when that heart has become purified, is filled with devotion, with compassion, with love, with vairagya, all these qualities, then here and now one comes to recognize that Atma. So cave means that. Another meaning he gives of the word cave is, according to the Upanishadic lore, in the cave of the heart is the seat of the intellect, and the rishis continue to explain that in the cave of the intellect is the seat of the self. When we are inside a cave, we all know that all around and about us, it is nothing but the cave. In philosophy, heart means the humane qualities of love, tenderness, mercy, etc. A seeker must first develop all those human qualities of the heart, and then his intellect can apprehend the very consciousness which illumines all thoughts as the very self. Remember, every science has its own vocabulary, and the rishis of old brought into their subjective science of life the lyricism of their poetic minds. That which shines, vibhrajate, in the cave of the heart, transcending even the state of no sleep, is the plane of God consciousness into which the seekers readily enter. Yatayaha means yatnam karoti, one who does yatnam, effort, who puts efforts. And yati also means one who lives in self control. So, who has learned to withdraw the attention. In the world, pravritti marg, acquiring is required more and more and more. And the glory of a person is measured by the world through the number of acquisitions and the things that one has. But in the spiritual realm, it is by the ability to drop, to let go, and to withdraw and stay quiet. Contemplate. Quiet doesn't mean thoughtless. Withdraw from the world outside and contemplate. So, yati means that who can put efforts in the world outside to serve, to purify the mind, to do the sadhana, and also withdraw the mind and be steady in contemplation where the mind is just not bothered about anything. Once one is sitting for contemplation, nothing, no craving, no restlessness, no extrovertedness. One revels in the joy within. That is a yati. So, vibhrajate yad yatayo vishanti. And they enter into that state, meaning, so why entry? So, enter into that state, meaning, see, when the mind is externalized through the senses, it has gone out. So, one withdraws, and what Ramana Maharshi used to say, that you abide in the heart. Manaha swasthata. Hritstale manaha swasthata. The mind must abide into the heart. Swamiji, we thought mind and heart is the same, and intellect and head is the same. Now suddenly you are saying mind has to abide in the heart. See, that sense of individuality must lose itself and abide as the Atma. That is called mind abiding in the heart. The mind is not, the individuality is no more there then. It does not, crave for anything. It is staying as the self, pure I, aham. The yatis enter that, meaning when they withdraw from the world outside, from the beings, from the body, from the breath, from the mind, from the intellect, that is the process of withdrawal, and then stay as the Atma. I am that infinite consciousness. Again, those are words, but one stays there. That is called Vishanti. This abhyas has to happen continuously. Then one gets abidance that I am that truth. Again, that abidance is a natural state of ours. The practice only destroys false identification. So, tyage naike, what was said, that will happen. We let go false identification when we learn to withdraw, and then that person who continuously does this sadhana of nididhyasan, even when one comes out in the world, deep down one knows I am Brahman. All this is illusory. None of this is real. And so one operates from that. So then there is no question of, getting disturbed and all that. One enters into that state, comes out, serves, again enters, this practice goes on till one gets nishtha. Then one is established. So, na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage, naike. The word na is not there, but we have to connect na with that dhanena. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, tyage naike amritatva manashuhu. Parena nakam nihitam guhayam vibhrajate yad yatayo vishanti. Now, how will they enter into this state? So the next mantra speaks about that, the Jnana Sadhana, which helps one to enter into this state of realization, and which is also actually the elaboration of the word Tyaga. That Tyaga has to be done. So what Tyaga has to be done, how it has to be done? Fourth mantra. Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitarthaha Sannyasa Yoga Dyataya Shuddha Sattvaha te brahmalokeshu parantakale paramritat parimucyanti sarve. So Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitarthaha. So this is the Jnana Sadhana. Yatayaha was said plural. Same here, plural. meaning many people in the past have done this. Though some rare individuals attain it, but many have attained it like that. And that is the glory of Bharat also. So many great Mahatmas have come one by one, and attained that realization here, spread that knowledge to the whole world, and hence plural is used. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha. So, simple meaning of this is those who have firmly determined, understood the knowledge of Vedant and Sannyasa Yoga through renunciation, these yatayaha, these again the great seekers, Shuddha Sattvaha, they have purified their mind. So knowledge is also there, purity is also there. Clarity is there, purity is there. Head has the understanding, right understanding, heart has the purity. Then, te brahmalokeshu parantakale, they attain brahmaloka at the end. Paramritat parimuchyanti sarve, and liberating themselves from everything, they attain the highest immortality. Brahmaloka also means the loka of Brahmaji, Brahmalokeshu. Or Brahmaloka also means realization of the truth. So we will come to the deeper meaning here. So now what is the Jnana Sadhana indicated here? Vedanta Sunishchitarthaha. That indicates Shravanam. One goes to the teacher and one listens to the Mahavakyas, to the Upanishads, to the knowledge that reveals the identity of Jiva with Brahman. That Vedanta Sunishchitarthaha is Shravan Sadhana. What is the objective of Shravan Sadhana? Listening and determining the essence. That is Sunishchitartha. It is not simply listening. Otherwise, one will become a professional listener. Class after class after class, one goes on listening text after text. But did we determine in our mind that yes, the import of Advait Vedanta is that Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. This is the essence of Advait Vedanta. That Brahman alone is real, Jagat is illusory, and Jiva is not different from Brahman. In my listening, I must determine this is the import of the study of the Veda, of whichever scripture I am studying. Even it may be Bhagavad Gita, it may be Ramayana, it may be Mahabharata, any of these. The essence is this. That is Vedanta Sunishchitartha. Vedanta does not mean only studying the end portion of the Veda. Vedanta is the philosophy which explains the oneness. Advait Vedanta is what we are speaking of here. Vedanta Vijnan. So Vedanta Sunishchitartha is Shravanam. And that is the definition that Swami Sadanandji gives in Vedanta Sar also, where he says Shravanam Nama Tatparya Avadharanam. Ashesha Vedantanam Tatparya Avadharanam. I'm giving it in a short, is a long definition of all so many scriptural books which are there, to determine that after studying all these, that the ultimate essence is Jiva and Brahman are one. That Tatparya Avadharanam is Shravanam. So Vedanta Sunishchitartha means that. And one should listen to gain that clarity. That's the first step. If one has purified the mind, if Shuddha Sattva, etc. is there, then instantly one will realize the truth. Through Shravanam itself, one will realize the truth. One doesn't need anything more. But those type of adhikaris are very less. Rare ones are such great adhikaris who are absolutely pure in mind and instantly they realize the truth. For others, the two other steps are required, which is mananam and nididhyasana. So manan sadhana is vijnana sunischitartha. First is to determine the essence of the scripture is that yes, Jiva and Brahman are one. That's the essence of the scripture. Brahman alone is real, world is illusory, Jiva and Brahman are one. Then Vijnana Sunischitartha means intellectually I am convinced that I am Brahman. World is illusory. That intellectual conviction has to come. How? Using the scriptural logic. Shruti Tarkonusandhiyatam, Shankaracharya ji said in Sadhana Panchakam, follow the scripture logic given in the scriptures. So how will I get that conviction? So mananam is yukti bihi anuchintanam. Through logic, continuously reflecting and letting go of the false notions. Many times what happens, we do Shravanam continuously, but we don't do enough Manan. Each one goes by each level, the next level should be done at least 10 times more. If one is listening for 1 hour, one has to reflect for 10 hours, one has to meditate for 100 hours. Then this is internalized. We are right now doing ulta. We are listening for 100 hours. We may be reflecting for 10 hours, maybe meditating for 1 hour. It has to change. Initial stages, obviously, listening will be more because one is still grasping, gaining information, one doesn't know. So one is still doing all that. But as one progresses in sadhana, it has to become the reverse. Again and again, if I am going on listening, sometimes that listening becomes an escape from reflection and meditation. If we find that that is happening to us, we should reduce our listening. Because if that doesn't happen, we will just, this is a trick the mind plays, where one feels I am spiritual, I am doing sadhana, I am listening, but I am not reflecting. If I can't reflect on my own, that's why Gurudev started the study groups. Chinmay Mission has study groups meant for that purpose. That like-minded seekers come together, even they need not be like-minded, they can be of differing views also. But seekers come together, people who are inquiring come together and they discuss based on the scripture and the commentary and they get more clarity and conviction. So then group discussion should happen in the study group. One's own reflection one can do, group discussion and group reflection one can do, but reflection has to happen. And the purpose of that reflection is conviction that yes, I am Brahman, I am not this body, mind, intellect. And how will that conviction then manifest in my life? It will manifest through the fact that the attachment to the body will reduce. All that what we saw earlier, na, karma, dhana, praja, attachments to that will reduce. All that will go. Intensity to know the self will increase. Wanting to meditate will, the desire to meditate and then actually sitting for meditation, the duration, intensity, all that will increase. That because conviction has come that I am Brahman, then I will want that the hunger to experience that. So Shravan must make me, if I listen properly, if I am an intellectual person, I will have doubts. And so those doubts must get clarified through the study, through question answer, through group discussion, through one's own reflection. That has to get clarified. So when one listens, there will be confusion. Many people drop at that stage only. No, no, it's very confusing. Drop. From confusion only clarity will be born. No? So from ignorance to confusion to clarity, that's our journey. From ignorance, when I didn't know anything, then I came to this. Swamiji, before studying Vedanta, I was much better. Now I'm very confused. That also be possible because we read too many other things and all kinds of philosophies, and we are into many. Uh, if one is studying Vedanta, one should study one and then follow that. Doing this also, that also, then confusion only will happen. So from ignorance to confusion. But that confusion to clarity is the journey. Ignorance is bliss. If somebody says, Guruji always says, ignorance is not bliss, it is blisters. Ignorance is what causes us all kinds of sorrows and troubles. How much the power of ignorance is, you can see even in day to day life. So many problems come because I don't know so many things. Even basic things about body and how it functions, we don't know. And then we go through disease and all challenges. Why? Ignorance. Didn't know what quantity to eat, what quality to eat, what time to eat, how much, when, what sequence to eat. Even that basic things many times we don't know. So everywhere in relationships, at work, in physical exercise, how much and when. So whatever is required, for the physical health, one has to have that strength training and all that. Now, how many people know all that? I didn't know for a long time. Paid the price for it also. One feels that one is playing some sport and all that and walking, that is enough, but that is not enough. One has to do strength training. So if I'm saying such simple applications in daily life also, ignorance causes so much problem. And what to talk about the ultimate, one doesn't know only who one is. So from that state one comes to listen, then one's wrong notions which are there will get, there will be conflict. One thought I am the body. Now Vedanta is saying I am not the body. One thought world is real. Vedanta says the world is illusory. One thought happiness is in this and that. Vedanta says it is not there. It will literally conflict with the most fundamental belief system. It will create confusion. It may even create a sense of one suddenly feels there is no grip. Then who am I if I am not all these? One has not yet got that certain clarity about the Atma. So, it is like pulling the carpet below one's feet. Suddenly one is tumbling, falling. So confusion galore will be there. That is when Manan has to be done. And that's why a teacher is required, co-seekers are required, satsang is required, very important. So Vedant Sunishchitartha means that Mananam. And that Mananam will lead to conviction. Yes, I am Brahman. One should ask that question to oneself, that if I have been studying Vedant, if I have been studying for many years, did I get that conviction or not? Or do I still think I am Jiva deep down, and only when we listen to Vedant class, at that time, yes, I am Brahman. Or that time the mind says, yes, yes, this is appealing, I am Brahman, but this life I cannot experience it. Next life we will see. So as of now, I continue to choose and live as a Jiva and fulfill my what we call desires and cravings for sense enjoyments and pleasure, etc. But I am Brahman. That I know. Vedanta I studied. I am Brahman, and I can teach about it also. I can explain about it also. But I still choose to live as a Jiva. That conviction has not come. So that conviction is what is the purpose of Mananam. So one has to reflect. Anu yuktibhi anuchintanam. The word anu is continuous in this context. Continuously I think I am Brahman. I am this. I am not this. Body, mind, intellect. I am infinite consciousness. It is here and now. Nihitam guhayam. Abide in that. Why run outside? So that continuously, if one is thinking, reflecting, that conviction comes. Vedanta sunischitarthaha is Shravanam, Vijnana sunischitarthaha is Mananam. That will naturally lead to Sannyasa Yoga. Sannyasa Yoga is Nididhyasanam here. The duty of a sannyasi is to do Nididhyasan, detached from who I am not, attached to the truth. Sannyasa Yoga. Sannyasa means to drop very well, not to pick up again. And what has to be dropped? This wrong notion that I am this jiva has to be dropped. Sannyasa, Gurudev used to say this word sannyasa and yoga is a oxymoron. Sannyasa yoga. Drop and join. Drop, join. Sannyas means to drop, yoga means to join. So how can it be drop, join? You know what he used to say in terms of the essence of Vedanta. One gentleman, he went to Gurudev. He was some busy industrialist or someone who could not attend the lecture of Gurudev when he was in town. 7 days or 10 days, Gurudev was in his town giving talks every evening. The gentleman could not go and meet him. I mean, could not go to attend the lecture. Last day, when Gurudev finished the talk and he is going to depart, he is in the train. The train has just started. This man comes running and he says, Gurudev, I'm sorry I could not attend your lecture. Can you please tell me the essence? Train is going and he's asking that. And Gurudev says, detach and attach. And Brahmachari was there, he said, ask him for the details. You just look at his spontaneity, his clarity, and precise knowledge he gave. The essence is that much only. Detach and attach, which is Sannyasa Yoga. Sannyasa Yoga. Detach from the lower, attach to the higher. That is full spirituality, that much only. What was said earlier, Tyage Naike, that is Sannyasa here. It is same here. There is no technical difference in this context. Tyage Naike and Sannyasa Yoga both mean the same. In other context, in Gita, it means karma phala tyaga, and sannyasa means kartritva tyaga and dehatma bhav tyaga. But here it does not mean that. Here it is same. Just renounce what? The jiva bhav. Sannyasa yoga. So nididhyasana is indicated by sannyasa yoga. So this is the jnana sadhana. And that's Shravanam will lead to determination of the essence, Mananam will lead to intellectual conviction, Nididhyasan will lead to Samadhi. Anavarata Anuchintanam, that is this Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha, sorry. Towards Advitiya Vastuni Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. Meaning the same flow of thoughts, no distractions in the mind towards that Brahman. When one is meditating, contemplating, one says, Asangoham, 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 I am detached, I am detached, I am detached. Puna Puna. Again and again one is doing that. That is dropping who I am not, sannyasa. And yoga is Satchidananda Rupoham, Aham Eva, Aham Avyayaha. I am that infinite consciousness, which is of the nature of Sat, Chit, Anand, and I alone am. There is, and I am that imperishable, unchanging truth. That is yoga, connecting. So detached from who I am not, attached to who I am I. Steadily, when one does that, it will lead to absorption in the state of samadhi. So nididhyasan will lead to savikalpa samadhi, that will lead to nirvikalpa samadhi. Nirvikalpa samadhi abhyas will destroy all dehatma bhav. One will attain the supreme state. abidance, Atmanishtha. Now, this is the journey. This is how one will know the truth. So, yatayah shuddha sattvaha, those who have purified their mind, whose mind is shuddha sattva, meaning freed from selfishness and greed and laziness, lethargy, rajas and tamas is absolutely minimized. Minimized in the sense only what bare necessities it is required for, it is there. Like tamas is required for resting, for sleep. Rajas is required to do some basic daily maintenance of the body, etc. But beyond that, nothing. Mind lives in sattva guna, purity of the mind. Such yatis, through this sadhana of Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, attain the truth. Now, te Brahma Lokeshu Parantakale. They attain the supreme state of Brahman. Parantakala there means the end of the ego. So it means the end of the ego. Through this steady contemplation, one completely dissolves, drops. This ego is gone. One revels in Brahman. Brahma Lokeshu Parantakale. What is that state? Para Amritat. It is beyond heaven, what was said earlier. So don't confuse this Amritat here as immortality. Here that immortality word indicates heaven. So it is beyond heaven, beyond the sensory, subtler sense pleasures. Paramritat, parimuchyanti. They experience that state and revel in that state, freed from all sense of limitations. Muchyanti, parimuchyanti sarve. All these yatis, yatayaha was said, na sarve yatayaha. All these yatis who have this sattvic mind, who follow this jnana sadhana of Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, they realize, be freed, revel in the state of Brahman. Now the process is very long. Sometimes one life is not enough. Then what happens? If they have had that level of vairagya, what we spoke earlier, if all those cravings are not there for karma, praja, dhana, for swarga, none of that is there. These yatis, if they did not realize the self here, then what happens to them? So the second meaning of Brahma Lokeshu Parantakale means when they drop the body. If the body is dropped before the realization happens, abidance in the Atma happens, then what will happen? They don't have vasanas, they don't have cravings, so they will not come back to this world. They don't go to Swarga. Then what will they go to? Brahma Loka, the highest world they will go to. And there they will stay. And Brahmaji, at the end of the Kalpa, gives them knowledge. There they stay in contemplation. Brahma Loka. Brahmaji gives them the knowledge and they attain mukti there. So Parantakale in that context means dropping of the body. When they drop the body is dead here. They don't have the vasanas to again visit the earth, again enjoy things in the world or go to heaven. They have great levels of vairagya, in great intensity to know the truth. So they go to the world of Brahmaji. Brahma Loka means that, the highest Loka in this realm of creation, in this universe, we say 14 worlds, 7 above, 7 below. So above means from earth onwards. So bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha, mahaha, janaha, tapaha, satyam. Satyaloka is Brahmalok. When one does punya, one goes into these higher realms of consciousness. They are not geographical places, they are realms of consciousness. And the 7 lower worlds, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patal, 7 lower worlds, If one does punya, one will go to higher worlds. If one does papa, one goes to the lower worlds. Mixture of punya and papa, one comes on this earth, and the journey continues. This cycle of birth and death in these 14 worlds goes on and on and on. In which all forms one comes, how many jiva, how many forms the jiva has taken, in how many lokas. It is a endless journey. I mean, beginningless journey. But that can end. And that's this. When one says enough of roaming, I want to come back home. That home is Om. And this person says yes. Now he doesn't have that vasana, but the body has dropped for whatever prarabdha is over, body dropped. Didn't realize the truth. Then where one will go? Straight to Brahmaloka, the highest one. And Brahmaji himself gives the knowledge there. At the end of the kalpa, that jiva is liberated, will not again come back. So that is called Krama Mukti in Vedanta. That is the second type of mukti. The best type of mukti is Jivan Mukti, while living here and now to come to know this truth. And Vedanta alone speaks of Jivan Mukti. Not many philosophies speak of Jivan Mukti. Even in Sanatan Hindu Dharma, many of them speak of Mukti after death and different types of Mukti also. Salokya, Sarupya. So you go in the same world as your Ishtadevata, Salokya Mukti. So devotee of Krishna will go to Saket Loka, Goloka. Shivji will go to Kailas, like that. Salokya, Sarupya, one will look exactly like Bhagwan. Samipya, one will be very close to the Lord. Then Sayujya, one may become one with the Lord. So all different types of muktis are there. This is Jivan Mukti. Realize here and now, that's the best form of Mukti, Vedanta says. And the purpose of study of Vedanta and Veda is also this only. To realize the truth here and now, having got a human birth. If for some reason that does not happen because body dropped, one was intensely seeking but the prarabdha of the body died, then this will happen, Krama Mukti. So ideally the student of Vedanta doesn't seek Krama Mukti. The student of Vedanta seeks only Jivan Mukti. But if it happens, it can happen through Krama Mukti also, because one doesn't know how much the prarabdha is, and that's why one has to do the sadhana intensely, daily, and come to know the truth quickly. Because when the body drops, who knows? It does not have to be that after becoming old only it will die. As soon as its prarabdha is over, it will die. So better realize before that. So now both these are explained, Jivan Mukti and Krama Mukti. Gurudev has explained this very nicely in his commentary. You can read that. The description of Krama Mukti. The realization by stages. Krama means that. Realization by stages, wherein the seeker, after leaving his physical existence, enters the realm of the total mind, the creator. That is Brahmaloka. The world of the Hiranyagarbha called Brahmaloka. And there, while enjoying a subtle life of joys, prepares himself for the highest experience which he gains at the end of the dissolution, pralay. Now this subtle realm life of joy does not mean sense pleasure. It means the joy of reveling within. It's not about enjoyment like heaven. Then what is the point? But subtle joy means that. And so Brahmaloka is explained in this way. Now, how to do this? Now, Jnana Sadhana was indicated, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. So from next mantra onwards, Shravan Manan is not spoken about in detail because that one is supposed to do. Nididhyasan, how to do? So those steps of contemplation, or what today people call as meditation, they will come now. So that is from the fifth mantra onwards that we will take up in our next class. For today, we will stop here. Any questions? All right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.